The message arrived on Earth at sunrise, carried across the sky by a streak of shimmering blue light that hovered over the capital before unfolding into a transparent sphere. People rushed outside to watch as the sphere displayed a calm and graceful figure. Her hair flowed like liquid silver. Her eyes shined like soft crystals. She introduced herself as Princess Lyra of the Elendra Alliance. The leaders of Earth had known for months that the Elendra were coming. Their approach had been tracked since the day the first faint signals reached human space. Yet no one expected their arrival to be so elegant or peaceful. The Elendra were known across several systems for diplomacy, culture, and long-standing treaties. However, they were also known for one more thing: tradition. Deep, unchanging tradition. That tradition was why the princess had come. Lyra explained, with a composed, almost ceremonial tone, that her visit concerned a bond between worlds. A marriage. A symbolic act meant to solidify a long-standing trust that had grown between the two species over recent years. It would strengthen both sides and open doors for a shared future in medicine, travel, technology, and understanding. The idea alone made Earth's officials uneasy. Marriage between species sounded complex, strange, and beyond anything they had ever dealt with. But they also saw the value in the Elendra Alliance. Their knowledge alone could lift Earth into a new era. Still, the decision was not one that could be forced. A representative had to be chosen. Someone willing, someone open-minded, someone capable of carrying such an unusual bond. The Earth Council searched for weeks. They interviewed thinkers, explorers, diplomats, and volunteers who felt curious about alien culture. Many stepped forward, but only one matched the qualities the Elendra valued most. His name was Aaron, a soft-spoken young engineer who had gained attention after helping decode the Elendra communication patterns. He was calm under pressure, curious, patient, and respectful of new worlds. He had no interest in ceremonies or power. He simply wanted to understand the universe and help Earth grow. When the decision was announced, Aaron felt his stomach tighten. He respected the Elendra and admired their technology, but he never imagined standing beside a royal figure. In such an important moment, he tried to explain that he might not be the right fit, but the council insisted. They assured him the marriage was not one of romance, but one of representation. The union would be symbolic and respectful. He would not be trapped by it. He would not be forced into anything. He would simply become the bridge they needed. Still, Aaron worried. He was an ordinary man, and the Elendra were anything but ordinary. They lived in floating cities. They spoke with melodic tones that carried meaning through emotion as much as sound. They aged slower. They moved with a graceful focus that made them look as if they were part of the sky. How could someone like him stand beside a princess who had spent her life preparing for leadership, diplomacy, and cultural rituals? While Earth prepared for his journey, a message arrived from Princess Lyra's council. They expressed gratitude, but also curiosity. Among the Elendra, marriage represented balance. They chose partners based on harmony of spirit and clarity of purpose. They hoped Aaron would share a quiet meeting with the princess before any ceremony was discussed. Aaron agreed, though the thought made his heart race more than any engineering challenge. When the Elendra ship arrived, it appeared like a silver cloud drifting down from the high atmosphere. Light rippled across its surface, as if the vessel were alive. Aaron boarded alongside a small Earth delegation. The interior felt warm and luminous. The walls were smooth and pale, like polished stone. Every surface glowed gently. It felt both futuristic and natural. Lyra greeted him in a wide chamber filled with floating orbs that shifted like drifting lanterns. She stood tall, wearing a smooth garment that flowed like a waterfall. Her eyes held curiosity, but also something softer. However, she looked conflicted. She paused before speaking, and her voice, though beautiful, carried hesitation. She confessed that she had opposed the idea of binding herself to someone from another world, not because she disliked humans, but because she feared that a symbolic union might not create the harmony their tradition required. She believed such bonds should not be rushed or arranged purely for political goals. When the Alliance Council insisted, she accepted only because she hoped that meeting the Earth representative might change her view. She prepared herself to speak firmly. She planned to explain why she could not agree to a marriage with someone she had never met. Her decision was set until she saw him. Aaron stood quietly with his hands folded in front of him. He was clearly nervous, but he still looked straight into her eyes with respect rather than fear. He did not bow in an exaggerated way. He did not try to impress her with long speeches. He simply greeted her with a calm voice and thanked her for meeting him. His sincerity surprised her. She had expected someone eager, bold, or overly formal. Instead, she found someone who felt grounded and thoughtful. Someone who seemed more concerned about doing what was right rather than gaining status or recognition. Lyra found herself speechless. Her carefully prepared introduction faded from her thoughts. She tried to speak twice, but only gentle breaths escaped her. Her advisors exchanged glances but stayed silent. Lyra had met ambassadors from planets filled with shimmering oceans, cities carved into crystal cliffs, and worlds grown from forests the size of continents. She had met leaders, visionaries, and scholars. Yet none of them had looked at her the way Aaron did. He looked at her as if she were a person, not a symbol, as if this meeting mattered beyond politics. She found that disarming, and strangely comforting. She asked him if he understood the meaning of their traditions. He admitted that he had studied them, but did not claim deep understanding. He said he hoped to learn through experience and conversation. She appreciated that. Many diplomats pretended to know everything about Elindra culture after a few hours of reading. Aaron's humility felt grounding in a way she had not expected. The two of them walked through the ship gardens. They floated gently above the ground, like terraces suspended over invisible currents. Plants shined in colors Earth had never seen. Soft blue leaves curled upward like delicate feathers. Blossoms released faint rings of luminescent mist. Aaron asked questions, but never rushed. Lyra found herself talking more than she had planned. She explained how their worlds shaped their culture, how they believed in balance, patience, and harmony. She spoke of the Elindra tradition of symbolic unions, how it was meant to represent unity rather than ownership. Aaron listened with calm interest. He spoke only when needed. His presence felt peaceful. Lyra realized she was no longer thinking about rejecting the marriage. Instead, she wondered if the council had sensed something she had overlooked. Perhaps they believed that the harmony they sought might grow naturally. She had doubted that strongly before meeting him. Now she felt uncertain, not in fear, but in curiosity. She invited Aaron to visit the observation hall. The chamber opened into a vast view of stars arranged in smooth arcs. The ship rotated slowly, giving them a panoramic sight of shining nebulas and distant suns. Aaron stood in awe. She watched him with a soft smile. Most visitors from other worlds tried to hide their excitement. Aaron embraced it openly. When the two sat together, Lyra asked him a question that had rooted itself in her thoughts since the moment she saw him. She asked if he truly wanted this union, or if he felt forced by his leaders. Aaron answered honestly. He said he had been nervous and unsure at first. He feared disappointing both sides. But after meeting her, he felt calm. He did not know if a union would be the right step yet, but he wanted to understand her world, her culture, and her hopes. He wanted trust to grow naturally, rather than being declared in a ceremony. Lyra felt relief wash over her. She believed the same. They both agreed that rushing into a symbolic marriage without understanding each other would weaken the bond instead of strengthening it. She suggested spending more days learning about each other, not as representatives set into tradition, but as two individuals exploring possibility. Aaron agreed. During the days that followed, they learned more than either expected. Lyra discovered that Aaron was dedicated to helping others. He shared stories about building machines that assisted small communities on Earth. He never told these stories to gain praise. He simply explained them when she asked what shaped his outlook. Lyra found these stories calming. They showed her a person who valued harmony, just as her own people did. Aaron learned that Lyra carried the weight of expectations. As a princess, she was often tasked with ceremonial roles. She had studied languages of distant worlds, practiced diplomacy since childhood, and learned to remain composed even when overwhelmed. Aaron saw the pressure she tried to hide. He respected her for it, but also encouraged her to speak freely with him. She appreciated that greatly. Around him, she felt less like a symbol and more like herself. Over time, their connection deepened. They shared meals, stories, and quiet moments watching the stars drift by. They laughed at the small misunderstandings between their cultures. They asked questions that revealed truths about their hopes and their values. Lyra realized that harmony was not something one could decide in an instant. It grew through understanding, respect, and shared EXP.